So what we are going to talk today is completely different from the previous watches because as you can see I have this Hamilton PSR on my wrist, and this is something where you will not find any complications or any complex dials. This is something where you get only hours and minutes and that's all. So let's dive in and talk what is special about this watch. So first of all, this watch is offered in several versions. What we will be talking today is the larger version with the red digits. And why I'm emphasizing it, because there is also the green digits version of the same size, and there is also the smaller watch. For the smaller watch, I think it will be completely different experience, so I would like to cover it in the different video. But today we are talking about this particular one, which is closer to the original predecessor. So as you have seen, the packaging is not that sophisticated. I would say it's classic for Hamilton, and frankly speaking, I was expecting something different for this model, but unfortunately it comes as this, but it is okay for this price tag. And then we also have the watch itself, so as you can see it comes with a metal bracelet. We will talk more about this later. I would like first to start with the history note, because beginning of the history of this watch starts with the Pulsar watch, and some of the reviewers were actually saying that this is reissue of the original Pulsar. This is not, this is more of a homage. So as you can see, it kind of copies and mimics the original styling, but the Pulsar company, it wasn't the Hamilton part. And that's why it's interesting to read more carefully about it. I recommend to Google it because it definitely deserves a separate video. There is quite a story behind it, but the Pulsar was a separate entity which was part of the Hamilton watch industries. So first of all, we are going to talk about this dial, and as you can see it takes the central space in this watch. There is nothing extra on this dial, so it's only hours and minutes. You will not find the indicator of the date, of the time, of the calendar or any other sophistication. It's purely the time which is shown in the 12-hour format. So as you can see now I have 12:31, and I think that's the main beauty because it's kind of true to the original. So we get only one line display, it's LED, and it's copying the original quite faithfully because you have the similar LED elements when you light it up. So in one way this composition is quite different from what we are used to see, because here you get only the time, but that's also the matter of the personal taste, because if you are not a fan of such simplicity, then it's definitely not for you. For me, I think it grows up on you with the time, and to be honest I was quite skeptical in the beginning, but now I see what is special about this configuration of the watch. So another quirk here is the Hamilton writing in this right bottom corner. I think that also adds up to this classic feeling, or to the old-timer feeling, because you don't have anything extra, and this is quite nice. And this writing is actually engraved, it's not painted, so it will last long and actually suits this brushed finish of the case. So as it was mentioned, the dial or this display can be in different colors. Mine is in red. You can also get the green version, but I think red is the true to the original, so it's quite a nice pick. But green can be also good if you're a fan of the dark cases and dark bracelets. It looks really good, almost like a spy tech. So as you can notice on the on-wrist shots, the sapphire glass is slightly raised on the top, so this also adds a bit of finesse because we have the engraving on the edges, and this is really nice element which differs it from the typical analog or digital watches. And now I think we discussed pretty much everything about this dial, so it's time to talk about the case. So now we are talking about the case, and first thing which I would like to say is that official photos somehow managed to make this thing look bulky, and I really recommend to check it in person because as you can see it's not as big as it looks on the official photos, and also the dimensions are not that big because you get the 40 by 34, the thickness is 13.3, so it's not as terrible as it might sound. The digits are looking completely different from what you are actually getting in real life. It feels quite compact, and the weight is also quite hefty, 138 grams, but I think here it is quite an advantage because you actually get a feeling of the real thing. So this is what differs it from the typical digital watches, for example from Casio. So the whole case is finished in this brushed polished finish, so it's looking quite different from the typical mirror polishing, and I think it's good here because it will be more lasting and it will survive the every time use. But what I really like is that how it suits the overall style, because With the polished case, it would be completely different image. So I think there will be such model in the future. But for now, we get this one, which is again true to the original issue of the Pulsar watch. So it has to be said that thanks to all of these features, Pulsar watch, or this Hamilton PSR, is looking a way more serious watch, and image is, I would say, different from what we are used to see in the classic digital watches. I also like that we don't get a lot of buttons here. It's only one button, which has a really nice push action. So one click, what I just did, it activates the backlight, but also when you click and hold it, you can set up the time. But basically you are setting up only the hours and minutes. You can also set the seconds, but the seconds are set in accordance with the synchronization of your time. So it's quite a smart way to adjust because you have only one button. On the case back, we have obviously the solid case back here. On the case back we have the Pulsar engraving, so it's the engraving of the star, not of the original watch obviously. And now I think it's time also to talk about this nice element which is present here out of the box. So for the bracelet, we get the metal bracelet here. So as you can see, it looks quite in part of this watch. I can't even imagine this watch with any other option in case of the, for example, leather or textile strap. But I saw some options on the Reddit. Some of you were actually doing some replacements. In my opinion, this watch should stay only with the metal version. Maybe it's possible to replace it with the Milanese loop, but this will be already again your decision, up to your taste. I would rather prefer to stay with the standard option. But what is quite cool here is that we get the butterfly clasp here, so it looks quite solid. It doesn't break with the separate clasp. And this is quite a smart decision because it looks sleek and it also has this Hamilton engraving here. So definitely a good choice for this model. And now I think it's time to talk about the in-use experience. So about the in-use, as I already said, the official photos are actually kind of lying to you because this watch feels way more compact than the size suggests. It's easy to wear, it's easy to hide under the sleeve. Obviously my version was not adjusted in terms of the bracelet, so you will notice it on the video and photos, but that's because my sample is just like this, just like the previous watches. But overall comfort of use, overall legibility, it's really perfect here. And I think that's quite a statement because you are choosing this watch instead of some other complication, some automatic watch. And here you get only hours and minutes, nothing extra. So it's a good, let's say, detox from all of our digital experience. And I think the quality, the overall assembly quality and finish quality is really top notch. It's definitely worth this price. And now if we are talking about the price, in Helvetia at the moment of recording this video, you can get it for 830 euros. This is quite hefty, and I would say it's a tricky market segment because you can get a lot of interesting alternatives for this price. So it will be your determination whether you would like to get this one in your collection. In my opinion, this is definitely something special, and to be honest, I was quite skeptical about digital watch for this price. But when you try it and when you feel how it's made, I would say it's different from all other Hamilton offerings and all these typical Haki models. So if you're brave enough to get this watch, then definitely check it out. Maybe the smaller version will be even more attractive for you. As for me, I'm aiming for this big model, so maybe soon it will be in my collection. And of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.